Hi, hello. I, yet again, have not posted a video in a little while. I'm hoping that this video will give a little more context as to why I've suddenly gone silent for the last few weeks, and also why the last few months have been a bit all over the place. But as you can see from the title and thumbnail of this video, I have a new home, kind of, ish. It's almost there, it doesn't have a floor. At some point this year I will be moving into a shepherd's hut at the end of the garden of my parents' house. I think a lot of you know already that I live quite rural. I don't have people around me, there is just fields and cows. I've lived with my parents for the past 5 years. I did before that live with my ex up north for a couple of years and then moved back here when we split up. The long-term plan for that was for this to be a bit of a stepping stone and for me to eventually move out by myself again. But I moved back in 2019 and after that pandemic happened, so obviously that was just not on the cards at all. And after that I was diagnosed with ADHD, so I went through quite a mental health journey, to say the least. As much as I want to move out of my parents' house, it just wasn't really on the cards for me at all, both mentally and financially. It just, yeah, didn't happen. But I will be turning 30 in a matter of weeks and I need my own space out of this house. I am incredibly grateful and know how lucky I am to live where I live, especially nowadays where not many people get the opportunity to live in such a beautiful place with barely any neighbours and just miles of green to walk whenever I want. I started looking at moving out and planning and things like that last year. It was definitely a moment of realisation that as a solo person who is not in a relationship with someone, my choices are a lot slimmer, and I know there's the option to live with people, with housemates and stuff, but that brings its own challenges for my head. It was quite a big moment of shit, what am I gonna do? I went through all my options and one of the options that I'd considered but never said anything to my parents about was a shepherd's hut or some sort of caravan type thing, so I would have my own space but wouldn't have to move away, and it would kind of create that sort of split from the main house and from my work. I looked into getting a shepherd's hut and the different ways to do it, whether I wanted to take on building something from scratch, doing up something that was already old and making it nice, or getting something that was new, and the different prices involved in that. And then I went to my parents after a couple of months of kind of squirreling away and trying to figure out whether I wanted to say this to them or not. I went to them and showed them my ideas and showed them the places that I researched and asked if they thought it would be a possibility or not, bearing in mind that they would have to pay the main bulk of it outright and then it would be a case of me paying them back over a period of time, which is quite a daunting thing to ask your parents when you've been living in their house for the last 5 years and haven't managed to move out yet. Thankfully my parents did understand, and I think they also want me out of the house as much as I want out of the house as well, so it benefits them as well. But the bottom line of it and the reality of it was I would be paying, whether it was a mortgage, whether it was rent, I'd be paying someone else a chunk of money for a really shitty studio flat somewhere I didn't want to be, versus if we did this, I would be paying back my parents for somewhere that I actually like to live. And at the end of it, I would have something that is mine, that if I wanted to move in the future somewhere else, I could either sell it, like I would have something of value to sell for a deposit for somewhere, or keep it. If I enjoy living there, I could always move it elsewhere to somewhere else, pitch it up somewhere else, because I don't know where I'll be settling down in 5-10 years time. It just makes sense to me. Obviously we're lucky to live where we do and we have a big garden here, so I'll be far enough away from the house. It's not just like a waving at my mum through the window sort of thing. I know that I enjoy living here, like the actual area is a place I adore. I feel like I have quite a big attachment to here, especially after doing a lot of family history things and realising how many generations lived here and worked here and the links that we have with that. It's given me a new sense of appreciation for where I live. So the thought of moving away from that was a bit like, I don't know if I want that. So that is kind of how we came to the decision of going this route. versus the other options that were on the table, which really weren't options by the end of it. Once I'd actually looked at it and the pricing and stuff like that, it would have put a lot of stress on my head. And the last couple of years I feel like I've worked really hard to understand my head and not push it past its limits to the point of burnout. And it's made me realise how difficult I do find day-to-day things and how exhausted I get just from my own brain. I've got into a routine of having a nap in the afternoon at about between 2 and 4 o'clock. I almost religiously nap now, and it helps my head to be able to deal with the rest of the day and have enough energy and not feel like an absolute slug for the rest of the day. But if I was to get a normal job to be able to afford living elsewhere out of my parents' house, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to be like, I'm going home, just gonna go have a nap and I'll be back in a bit. Obviously there are some jobs that accommodate things like that, but there isn't many. Like there's not, you know, it's just not. It's not a thing that's normal right now. By living in the garden in a hut, I can pay my parents back. Those payments will be a fraction of what I would be paying if I had to rent somewhere or have a mortgage elsewhere. It means I can carry on doing my art as my job and kind of gradually build that up in a more healthy environment and not feel like I have to keep up with some sort of pace and momentum that's outside of me, because I need to get bills paid, because da-da-da-da. The worst dynamic I got into, I think, with my job was feeling that pressure that I had to make art because I had to pay bills. That was really hard on my head and my art in general. As much as I loved what I was making was at the expense of my mental health. And I never want to be like that again. I don't want to be in that position. So having the hut allows me to have my space away from the house that is mine. It feels like I am paying towards something that I will have at the end that will be mine. I will still be coming into the house to do work and see my family, and Bonnie will come with me, obviously. But when I want to detach from everything here, I will have that space out there that is just mine, closed off from everything else. I spent hours researching all the different places that do them. I looked on Facebook and eBay to see if people were selling secondhand ones that would be able to be done up. I looked at different kits. People do kit ones, which is like a giant Lego set but more complicated. But we ended up going with Blackdown because they had more flexibility in what they were offering, and what they were offering was a very good quality hut. It was expensive, obviously, but I feel now it's arrived and I've seen it face to face, it is absolutely beautiful. It's an absolute skeleton inside, which is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to do up the inside myself completely how I want it. The outside of it though, I wanted to make sure was completely watertight, wasn't going to leak, was going to last a long enough time before anything needed to be replaced or whatever, or done up, and that's definitely what I got with them. I can't imagine anyone watching this is looking to buy a shepherd's hut, but I wanted to mention Blackdown anyway because they have been so understanding of like my situation and what I wanted from a shepherd's hut, because normally they do fully like interior done up shepherd's huts, or they do like kit build, but I wanted a part build which was the whole of the outside done but the inside left completely bare. So they figured it all out with me and priced things up, and obviously I went back and forward with my parents and we figured out what would be affordable, what wouldn't, and in the end we have a shepherd's hut. We planned it so that this shepherd's hut doesn't have a bathroom or kitchen area in it. It's going to have a little sink area, so I have water and stuff out there, but there's not going to be a bathroom. I will have to come inside to shower and use the toilet. I will have to come inside to cook, but we designed it so that if there's a potential in the future to have another one, it can be joined to this one in the framework. So there is the potential to have a bathroom and kitchen area in the future. Just right now it wasn't in the budget and it's not like the important part. The important part was having a space for me that is more like a bedroom space. I didn't want to say anything about it until it was here because I'm always so worried with sharing plans and them not happening or something going wrong or something changing, but it is here. It arrived. I did record some clips, so I will insert those of it being delivered and stuff. I can't put into words how pretty it is. It is so beautiful. I chose the colours to be a dark green on the tin, and then the woodwork is like a light green. I didn't want something that stood out massively. I didn't want it to be an eyesore in the garden. I was very overwhelmed when it arrived. I couldn't quite believe it was sat in the garden. I actually went and sat in there for most of the day with my notebook, sketching up my ideas and trying to finalise the things that I'd sketched before it got here, because now I could actually sit there and visualise it in front of me. You guys know I'm a very visual person, so it was hard to see just like little computer made plans of it and try and visualise the space from that, but I still did my best with what I had before it arrived, and it has made the process a little easier. It arrived on Thursday and today is Sunday. So far I have ordered insulation. We have potential floorboards happening or coming somewhere next week. I figured out which panelling I want to do, and I have one of my cousins who is a carpenter coming around some point today to work out how to make the panelling fit the curved roof. So there's lots going on. I don't have a massively strict timeline for it. I just know that I want to have floors in there before my birthday so I can actually show people the inside without being like, here it is, okay bye. Not that there'll be anything in there, but it is nice to just walk around inside it rather than just looking at it from the door. And the other deadline that I have is to make sure that I have a wood burner in it before winter and autumn gets here. So I honestly can't see it taking too long. I'm imagining it to be done by the time autumn gets here because it's not a massive space to do up. It's just a matter of figuring out what I need to order and getting that stuff here so I can actually build it, make it. But yeah, that's my little update. It feels like when I'm working, I will be working to earn money to go towards something that I absolutely love, rather than working to pay someone else's mortgage or pay a mortgage to a bank that allows me to live somewhere I don't want to live particularly. I'm very much looking forward to the point where I've moved in there and I'm able to do my art full time and not have this overwhelming feeling of what am I doing, what am I working towards. I feel like I have a bit of a goal now and I didn't really have that before, and I'm not going to get emotional because that's not what this video is. But it has been hard living here as an almost 30-year-old. It's just been hard. I don't want to go into it particularly. I've gone into it briefly before in other videos, but I don't want to go into it in detail again. It's just difficult. I love my parents and I love here and the house and everything, but the dynamic has just been hard. I'm at a place now where I feel like there is some sort of something to work towards, and I'm really looking forward to it, which is really nice. I want to end off this video by saying how completely aware I am of how lucky I am to live here and have this opportunity. And I think that was one of the reasons why I decided to ask my parents and why we decided to go for it. I've definitely gone through a lot of guilt with this whole process, but it's one of those things where if I had the money myself, I would 100% go for it. It's just I needed help with the money and my parents helped. We didn't have the hurdles of trying to find a plot of land to put it on because our garden is big enough. The whole process has had a lot of like thinking and little rabbit holes that I've gone down of, should I be doing this? What will people think? All of those things. But at the end of the day, it's an opportunity that I think anyone would take. So me not taking it for the worry of what will people think isn't a good enough reason to not take it. I am not going to take this process for granted in any way, shape or form. Even the bits that are stressful, I know that in the end it's all going to be worth it. I'm hoping to gain some skills from the process of doing it up. I obviously have an amazing family who have all offered to help in different ways. Not just my immediate family, cousins, uncles, people in my surrounding family. They all have their little niches of skills and have offered help. So I'm very grateful for that as well, and for them. In terms of how the next few months are going to go, I still have the little flower presses to launch. This has just all taken over a little bit in the last month. It all got a bit caught up and I had to just put it on the back burner again and be like, no, I need to focus on the hut stuff because that thing's gonna arrive soon. And it did, but I do still have those to launch, so they will be coming. But the next few months are going to be a process of me sorting the hut out. After I have done the hut and moved my bedroom in there, so this room, into the hut, my office is going to move into here because I didn't spend most of 2022 after the ceiling fell down in here doing up this room for nothing, and I still want to be able to enjoy it. My parents have let me move my stuff into here so I can just get going with work basically once it's all moved in. I don't have to worry about decorating it or redoing any more ceilings. So yeah, I'll be moving my office into here. I love this room. I'm really looking forward to having a creative space that inspires me back again. I feel like I'm on the right path though to getting to a point where I can enjoy my art again and doing things without the stress of going, what am I doing this all for? What am I doing it for? I kind of know now what I'm doing it for, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy. I feel happy, which has been a rare feeling for me in the past few years. I will be posting updates of when I'm doing things to the hut and all that sort of jazz. It will be on Instagram or my YouTube, either or. They're the two platforms that I post on the most. I think most of my Instagram content goes to Facebook as well. So if you don't have Instagram, Facebook's there. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for your patience with this transitional period of my life. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.